contemplate on the Samadhi path. We had looked at Sutra 1 to 8. We had started discussing those sutras, and there were certain terms also we discussed. We will do a quick recapitalization of the terms in person today. Yes? So, what is Chitta?
Mind. It's like
Mind field. So, if
mind.
you know, there is the Sankhya chart, the Sankhya philosophy we studied. In Sankhya philosophy, there was Mahat, cosmic intelligence, Ahamkara, individual intelligence, and Manas, the mind. So all these three together are known as Chitta. Now, Chitta has two avastha. Avastha means state. First is Niruddha avastha. Niruddha, Niruddha avastha. And second is Vyutthana avastha. Vyutthana means filled with vrittis, filled with thought waves. Yes. Then we also talked about vrittis. In Vyutthana avastha, we talked about pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, and smriti. Pramana is
Proof of
proof,
knowledge.
knowledge. Pramana vritti, or the vritti which has knowledge, has a tendency to be the instrument for realization of Purusha or consciousness. Pramana is the only vritti which takes us towards the realization. So out of all the vrittis, we said Pramana vritti is where we have to first focus. So from many vrittis to one vritti, from one vritti to no vritti. So Pramana vritti is one such vritti which exhausts, it dissolves by itself upon liberation. So it's just an instrument which takes the seeker towards realization, and it exhausts by itself. Pramana vritti. What is the example of this in day-to-day life also? When we meet people, do we recall everything associated with them? No. There is just the knowledge of the person. Therefore, even if you meet somebody after 7 years and they have really wronged you, done something wrong to you, in that moment you have already forgotten what they have done. Have you realized this? You're no more able to recall, oh, why didn't things go right, or things like that. So what remains is knowledge only. So the vritti exhausts by itself. So Vyutthana, Chitta, and Niruddha, both. So when we talked about the sutras, the first sutra talked about the beginning of the study of yoga. The second and the third sutra talked about Niruddha avastha. The second and third talked about what is Niruddha avastha. The third, fourth, the third and the fourth. So second talked about the Niruddha, third partially Niruddha and Vyutthana. So fourth talks about Vyutthana. And 5th to 11 onwards start talking about what happens in Vyutthana. So I'm just giving you a roadmap. The first is Upakrama Sutra. Upakrama means beginning sutra. First sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is Upakrama. Second and third talk about Niruddha. Niruddha avastha. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha and tadadrashtu swarupe avastha. Yes. Then going forward, fourth talks about what is Vyutthana chitta. Vritti sarupya mitaratra. Fourth sutra talks about Vyutthana avastha filled with different vrittis. 5th to 11th will discuss these vrittis in detail. So presently we are in 5 to 11 sutras. So what is happening? We are seeing each vritti one by one. Now, from sutra number 11, there will be a discussion on how to work on these vrittis, how to dissolve the vritti. And from 12 to 51, different types of samadhis will be discussed. In the first chapter, in Samadhi Pada, we are discussing that first is Upakrama, second and third is Niruddha Sutra, fourth talks about what is Vyuthana, 5 to 11 discusses the vrittis in Vyuthana Chitta. Vyuthana means filled with hot waves. Yes. 12 talks about the way forward, and then till 51, different types of samadhis as you progress on the removal of vrittis. So what happens if out of the 5, one vritti is removed? Do I still attain a state of samadhi? All of these have been discussed. So different types of samadhis. How many? 24 types of samadhis have been discussed from Sutra 12 to 51 in the first chapter of Patanjali's Yoga. And why did we say that Sage Patanjali put this chapter first, Samadhi Pada? Because if there is a seeker who is of the highest caliber, will need not have to go through the entire text, only first, and will be able to relate in the first chapter itself that I have progressed almost there. Some little information is needed about my experience. So 12 to 51, we will see different types of samadhis only. Samadhi is one, or there are many samadhis. And if there are many, when are they formed? And how to understand that we are in a state of samadhi. So this is our general direction. This is where we are progressing. Now, in the last class also, we talked about chit and chitta. Can anybody share with me the difference between chit and chitta? If you recall. Chit is chit shakti. Chitta
Spiritual self.
has mind field with a vritti. Chitta has an extra takara, ta in Sanskritam, the alphabet ta, which denotes chit shakti holding on to vrittis. What was chit shakti? Chit shakti was pure light. Chit shakti was pure light. Here we took the example of a mirror. Yes. What was the example? Do you recall?
Yeah, that mirror without that film behind, it is just a transparent glass, we can see through it. But
Yes.
after that film of mercury, it becomes we can see our reflection in it. But ma'am, I didn't understand what is exactly here chitta and chitta shakti in this example.
We had taken a greater example that the mirror is tilted. We had taken the example that somebody is taking the light of the sun from a mirror and directing that mirror in the house. If you live in a house, you must have observed somebody reflecting a mirror on your house, the light of the mirror. Now, somebody who's inside the house is holding another mirror and reflecting that light elsewhere. So the sun is not able to enter any of these rooms. But what is being done by the chitta? The vrittis are being continued. One light, then another thought, then there is light associated. So when we talk about the practice of yoga, chitta dissolves. And what remains? Only chit shakti, only awareness that there is a vritti. Chitta is a container holding on to vrittis. So chitta also dissolves. It diminishes. And what remains? Only chit shakti. Means chit shakti can create the entire chitta and can dissolve the both. Chit shakti or the consciousness, Purusha's chit shakti. How to understand this chit shakti? I am in a state of deep sleep. Next day morning, the experience of deep sleep is recorded. Where is it recorded? Next morning, I wake up and say, I had a great sleep experience, but all my senses were withdrawn. From where was this experience? Who was the one who was observing this state of deep sleep when you don't recall anything? So the one who was experiencing this or this experience was Chit Shakti. So as Chitta becomes from many vrittis comes to one vritti, you start understanding Chit Shakti more than the Chitta.
So, ma'am, what is the direct uh, English word for Chitta Shakti? Just to understand it. Is there any?
That's
No.
the challenge we are facing. Okay. For Chitta Shakti, we can simply say that there is awareness of the impressions. Vrittis are what? Impressions of the object which are formed when we come in contact with them. Where these impressions are formed, we call it the mind or mind field or chitta. Sometimes you're able to observe, I'm not in a right state of mind. The one who is saying I'm not in the right state of mind, and that power to observe that the state of mind is not right, is chitta shakti. Your chitta can be your state of mind, but while responding to someone, you say, I cannot work on this right now. I'm not in a great state of mind. This power to understand that something is not right is chitta shakti. And it is specific to chitta. It is only specific to the mind. This awareness is chitta shakti. Now we will progress on to the next sutras. Before that, you have to give your examination. Means what? You have to chant the sutras. Who is ready with the sutras? Memorized? 1 to 8? Anybody?
Maybe not all, some of them.
Please attempt. Even first 1, 2, 3. How many? How much ever you can.
For sure, I remember them not in an order every time. Sometimes I miss some of them.
Who remembers the first sutra? Yes, please.
Yes.
Please, 1 minute. Okay, we have first 3 sutras memorized here, please. We will chant after her, okay? So, please. अथ योगानुशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः स्वरूपे अवस्थानं तदा
द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानं.
Yes, very good. Fourth.
Vritti.
Yes, Lisa ji, please.
Vritti sarupyam itaratra.
Vritti sarupyam nitaratra. Fifth.
Vrittaya panchataya krishta krishta.
वृत्तयः पञ्चदयः क्लिष्ट अक्लिष्ट. Yes, sixth, please.
विकल्प
प्रमाण विपर्याय विकल्प निद्रा स्मृतियः. Seventh, anyone?
Pratyaksha Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaha Pramanani.
Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaha Pramanani. Then eighth, where we are, we will chant it. We will chant after me. I will just share the screen. Yes. Viparyayo mithyajanam atadrupa pratishtham.
विपर्यायो मिथ्याजानम् अतद्रूपा प्रतिष्ठम्
Viparyayo mithyajanam atadrupa pratishtham.
विपर्यायो मिथ्याजानम् अतद्रूपा प्रतिष्ठम्.
Yes, Uttamam. So we have seen pramana in the first sutra. Along with the pramana in the sutra prior, what all did we see? In pramana, we saw pratyaksha, anumana, and shabda. Three kinds of pramana. Now, in this sutra, we will discuss what is viparyayo. I will just read the Sanskrit commentary, then we progress. स कस्मान्न प्रमाणं यतः प्रमाणेन बाध्यते भूतार्थ विषयत्वात् प्रमाणस्य तत्र प्रमाणेन बाधन प्रमाणस्य दृष्टं तद्यथा द्विचन्द्रदर्शनं सद्विशेषणैकचन्द्रदर्शनेन बाध्यतीति सेयं पञ्चपर्वाः भवत्यविद्याः अविद्या स्मितरागद्वेष अभिनिवेशाः क्लेश इति एत एवं स्वसंजाभिस्तमाहो महो महामोहमिस्रो अध्यत्मित्र इति एते चित्तमल प्रसंगनाने विदात्य सन्ते. Which means what? Viparyaya is based on Panchaklesha. We will be introduced to the topic known as Panchaklesha. Asmita, Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesh. What are these Panchakleshas? We will discuss them shortly in the subsequent sutras. But this sutra simply says what? Viparyaya is different from Pramana. And why is it different? Because it is based on Panchaklesha. In the translation by Dr. Sita Nambiar, we see here, pervasive cognition is false knowledge without a basis in the nature or form of the respective object. This vritti is viparyaya, not valid, because this is latter contradicted by another or a valid proof. For example, the one moon seen as two. This is refuted by the sight of the single moon. This is the mithya jana of the Vedanti. This is avidya. A dream can be taken as viparyaya. So also the mistaking of a rope as a snake is viparyaya. Viparyaya is false knowledge which immediately gets replaced with correct. Viparyaya is false knowledge which gets immediately changed or replaced by the correct knowledge. So when we also talk about viparyaya, there are many examples taken, like the snake and the rope. Viparyaya is false knowledge. Now, one thing is important to understand here. Vritti is one. We will just pay little attention. Vrittis are not 5. Vritti is one, but its manifestations are 5. Means what its manifestations are. What is the effect of that vritti? According to that effect, the name is given. So are vrittis really 5 in number? No. Vritti is 1. The effect of those vrittis, one of the effect of the vritti is viparyaya. One of the effect of the vritti is pramana. So the light of the sun, light and the sun are not different. It's one, but it's one aspect of the sun. Light spectrum, yes. So when we are discussing a quality which is unique to that object, so that quality and the object are not different. It's just what we are able to see in that moment. So these vrittis are not 5 or 6. Vritti is only 1. We are changing the manifestations, the effects of these vrittis one by one. We are realizing the effect and we are removing those effects. Therefore, we discussed that pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smriti is taken. Why not the waking state taken as vritti if the dreaming state and sleep state is taken? So that time we discussed that the waking state is based on pramana. Waking state is based on what? Pramana, purely. And we also discussed that the dreaming state is based on viparyaya or false knowledge. Therefore, the waking state and the dreaming state have not been added to the vrittis. What is added? Pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, and sleep. Also, if you recall, in the last class, we had discussed anumana, inference. Means what? You no more have the knowledge of the original object. You have the knowledge of the experience of that object. So I'm just trying to refresh what we have studied before so we can. Now, viparyaya is based on moha, desire. Moha or desire. Also, moha is based on avidya, ignorance. So, if pramana vritti is not there, if the vritti or the thought of true knowledge is not there, whatever is there, it becomes viparyaya. First. Means from pramana, when there was absence of pramana, viparyaya is there. From viparyaya will be born vikalpa, nidra, smriti. So from viparyaya, immediately there is vikalpa. In the vritti of viparyaya, false knowledge, pramana, if we see, has highest sattva, means light. Viparyaya, what happens? Rajas plus sattva, means knowledge is there, but false knowledge is there. Light has dimmed. When the light is dimmed, you are not able to discriminate. You are not able to see properly in life. Vikalpa, imagination. Sattva is gone. Tamas and Rajas. So Rajas is there. Little bit of tamas is introduced to it. So person becomes stagnant and starts imagining. Vikalpa. Then Nidra. Rajas is completely gone. What remains? Only tamas. And Smriti. Smriti is that vritti which is present in all. There is Smriti or memory even of pramana. There is Smriti even of viparyaya, smriti, even of vikalpa. You can remember your imagination, right? So there is smriti, even of viparyaya, smriti, even of nidra. You can exactly tell on which date you had a deep sleep. So smriti is one vritti, one impression, which is common to all these rest of. Just connect with what we have just discussed. In absence of pramana, whatever remains first is viparya. And how the gunas are playing a role. We studied three gunas when we studied the Sankhya chart. Sankhya philosophy is prerequisite to yoga. So if we study or if we know little bit about at least the Sankhya chart, only then we can understand these sutras. So tendency of mind from good sattva, slowly sattva and rajas to sattva lessening, rajas is more. Slowly we see sattva diminishes, rajas remain, rajas diminishes, tamas remains. Therefore, even in the deep sleep experience, some people have experienced deep sleep, but when they wake up, they are tired and exhausted, which means there is tamas more. Some people experience deep sleep, but when they wake up in the morning, they are refreshed, which means a hint of sattva was there. Even if they were in nidra, what was there? Sattvic impressions are more on such a mind of such a person. Impressions are rajasic, sattvic, and tamasic. What are vrittis? The combinations of these impressions. Yes. Now we will move on to the 9th sutra. शब्दजानानुपाती वस्तुशून्यो विकल्पः
शब्दजानानुपाति
वस्तुशून्यो विकल्पः
शब्दजानानुपाती वस्तुशून्यो विकल्पः
शब्दजानानुपाते वस्तुशून्यो विकल्पः.
We will discuss the commentary. Is it visible today clearly? I think not really.
No.
Challenge I'm facing. We will stick to the English commentary. I will read from it. Bhashyam. स न प्रमाणपारोहि न विपर्यायपारोहि च. Means this vikalpa is what? न प्रमाण न विपर्याय. वस्तु शून्योत्वे अपि शब्द ज्ञान महात्म्य निबंधनो व्यवहारो दृश्यते. तद्यथा चैतन्यं पुरुषस्य स्वरूपमिति यदा चित्तरेव पुरुषस्तदा किमत्र केन व्यापदिश्यते भवति च व्यपदेशे वृत्त्यर्थ चैत्रस्य गौरिति. तथा प्रतिषिद्ध वस्तु धर्मो निष्क्रियाः पुरुषः तिष्ठति बाणः स्थास्यति स्थितैति गतिनिवृत्तो धात्वमार्थं गम्यते. तथा अनुपत्ति धर्म पुरुष इति उत्पत्ति धर्मस्य भावमात्र वगमत्ये न पुरुषन्वयि धर्मः. तस्माद्विकल्पितः सधर्मस्तेन चास्ति व्यवहार इति. So, what is this verse trying to say? Vikalpaha is neither pramana nor viparyaya. It is further excess of panchaklesha. Asmita means what? The imagination is based on asmita, means egoism. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, hatred or aversion. And abhinivesh, which means longing for life. So, imaginary cognition or vikalpa is the vritti depending on a verbal knowledge only, but devoid of a real object. It is verbal delusion. It does not arise out of any pramana or viparyaya. Vyasa gives an example of philosophical vikalpa. Consciousness is the form and nature of Purusha. This sentence sounds great, but when you think of the real meaning of the sentence, you start questioning, when consciousness itself is Purusha, what is being designated by what? The grossest form of Vikalpa, the non-philosophical imaginations, are brought together in the following verse. So here they have quoted, there goes the son of a barren woman. Means what? There cannot be a son to a woman who cannot beget a child. He has worn a crown of sky flowers. After bathing in the water of mirage, he carries a bow made of hare's horn. Which means in Viparyaya, you try to bring about two objects and you try to build something based on those two objects. So Viparyaya is simply what? The tendency of the mind in the confused state. Like when you wake up from sleep, you see two objects. You will say, I'm seeing two moons. Or somebody who's under the influence of any substance, starts seeing many things. So are they actually there? They are not there. Sometimes because there is clinging to something known as asmita, when we study these panchakleshas further, we will discuss. When there is clinging to something, means I see a cow. I simply have seen a cow, but I already thought that, okay, if I buy this cow today, she will have a calf. I will take that milk. I will make curd out of that milk. From the curd, I will make butter. I will sell that butter. From the money I get from selling the butter, I will get another cow. From one cow to two and two to 200. So this imagination, building from what the object is. Based on what? Based on my aspirations. So it can be asmita or identification of the self. It can be raga, that means intense attachment. Dvesha, when you're angry also you imagine. When you're in attachment also you imagine objects. So based on these asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh, this vritti of vikalpa is dominant. So here a very beautiful example they have given. Nishkriyaha purushaha, which it means what? It is a delusion. This such a vritti hampers a person's growth and progress in life. The person is never able to progress when there is imagination. So now you would say, but madam, there are so many poets and creative writers making good money. That material progress is not discussed. What kind of progress is discussed here? Spiritual. So for such a person, to come from an imaginary world to the existing objects and then refuting the existing objects to understand who is the seer becomes very, very challenging. So when the yogis start their sadhana, the first vritti they remove is vikalpa. Means what? They try observing the object as it is without imagining what it could be. How to work on this object? simply stop observing what somebody could be or what something can be. You observe and have the knowledge of what it is from direct experience. This is how we start working on Vikalpa. Next sutra. अभाव प्रत्यय आलंबन वृत्तिर्निद्रा.
अभाव प्रत्यय आलंबन वृत्तिनिद्रा.
अभाव प्रत्यालंबन वृत्तिर्निद्रा.
अभाव प्रत्ययलम
वृत्तिनिद्रा
means what? Abhava pratyaya alambana. Pratyaya, what is pratyaya? We will see here. Cause. Alambana, holding on to. So when there is absence of any cause or effect at the state of mind, which means there is absence of any kind of content for the mind, it is the state of nidra. When there is no content of any sort, there is no vritti which is manifested. Vrittis are there, but how have they become? Tamas has become so powerful that all the other gunas have become suppressed. So highest state of tamas is nidra. Sleep is a wave of thought resorting to the cognition of nothingness. It is a positive experience of nothingness because one reflects about it. I had a good sleep. Sleep cannot be considered as a state of unconsciousness because only the surface layer of the mind, that is the conscious mind, is overcome by tamas. Second reason is only that part of the mind sleeps which normally undergoes alterations of wakefulness, dream, and sleep. The rest of the mind never sleeps during one's lifetime. The rest of the mind continues its normal operations. The entire mind never sleeps during one's lifetime. For the purpose of samadhi, this vritti sleep too should be brought under control. So when they are saying mind, it simply take it as chitta. Since nidra is one of the vrittis, it's simply the vritti. When it becomes dominant, rest all what happened? They internalize. How they internalize? Just before you go to sleep, we have discussed, you drop all the roles. Does it mean all those roles are not there at the level of the mind? You drop the role of being a partner, brother, husband, sister, wife, whatever it is. You're just about to sleep. Before that, you remove all those roles. But have those roles gone anywhere? No. Next morning you wake up, all of them immediately surface. So this state is known as nidra. This vritti is known as nidra. And nidra or this state is important for what? Nidra is the shorter form of death. It's a near death experience. Nidra is important for forgetting. Nidra causes what? The purpose of nidra is to forget. Each day ends with what? A patch of sleep. Which means you're not supposed to remember what has happened in the previous day on the next day. Ideally, a yogi does not remember or recall. The past does not exist at all for such a yogi. Imagine if you would have never slept, you would have had all the memories of all the years from childhood till today. So nidra, the role of nidra is what? Vismaran, removal. Removal of all the activities a person has done, just a slight impression should remain. Therefore, you will not remember word to word. Some people will not even remember what they had for breakfast. It's not required. It's gone in. unless any event of the past day is associated at the deeper level of the vritti of this person as samskara. If you recall, we talked about something known as samskara or tendency. These samskaras are seeds lying in our chitta. So when the mind holds on to something for a long time, which means that is the samskara, that is what I need to exhaust. That is therein. That is being manifested. Let's see the Sanskritam translation. भाष्यम साच संप्रबोधे प्रत्यवमर्षात् प्रत्यविशेषः कथम सुखमहं स्वप्नं प्रसन्नं मे मनः प्रज्ञा मे विशारदी करोति दुःखः मह स्वप्नस्य स्थायेन मे मनो भ्रमत्यनवस्थितं गाढं मूढो अहं स्वप्यस्यं गुरूणि मे गात्राणि क्लान्त मे चित्तमलसम् अमलिति पाठान्तरं मुषिम इव तिष्ठति स खल्लवेव प्रबुद्धस्य प्रत्यमवर्षो न स्यादति प्रत्ययानुभावे तदाश्रिताः स्मृतयाश्च तदाश्रयाश्च न स्युः तस्मात् प्रत्यय विशेषो निद्रा सा च समाधिवितर प्रत्यय वनिरो विद्यवेति. The Sanskrit translation talks about what is pratyaya and alambana. Just make a note if you have a pen and paper. Okay. Pratyaya is cause, alambana is support. So memory is a product of samskara and samskara as a result of experience. So how do we know that there has been past life? The experience is recorded in the form of samskara. So further we say,
Alamban is support, you said?
Support. There are different meanings of alamban, like holding also, but here it is taken as support. It is the support for the mind and refers to any object which the yogi has chosen for meditation. So what do we do? Either our state of mind is in pratyaya, means cause. We constantly keep on thinking why this happened, why this happened, why this happened. That is one state of mind. And second is alambana, holding on to what is there. And there is a difference. One is cause, one is talking about the cause, second is talking about the effect. Practice of yoga suggests the latter. You think about the effect right now, what is in front of you. And that alambana brings out dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Alambana is observing something in front of you, outside you, training the mind to come from different vrittis to what is in the front. Why what is in the front? Because it will bring us to the present. So whatever sits or stands in front of us, for example, the candle flame, for example, the mantra, alambana is supporting the mind. Alambana is supporting the mind towards what? Towards coming to one thought. So in the state of nidra, these alambana and pratyaya both dissolve. If there is no nidra, if there is no sleep, this sutra says, if there is no sleep, either the mind has alambana or pratyaya. Pratyaya means imprints. Either there are impressions, imprints, and questions of the cause, or then there is alambana, one object.
Okay.
So we will see in Sutra 1.39 onwards, sage Patanjali talks about what are the different alambanas, how to enter samadhi with the help of alamban. which means pratyaya will not take us towards samadhi. What will take us towards samadhi? Alambana will take us towards samadhi. Take a moment, just connect with what we have discussed. Alambana. Alambana is, first understand what is pratyaya, impressions. Different impressions. These are the impressions which make you question constantly. Why, what, how, when. These are pratyayas. Means you experienced something, you formed an attachment with it. And now then you are questioning, okay, whatever I experienced, when can I see that again? Or when can I be promoted again? When that will happen? So it's very futuristic. Nature of pratyaya is futuristic. Alambana is present. Pratyaya is past, moving towards future. Alambana is present. So in the state of nidra, what is the sutra? Abhava pratyaya alambana vrittir nidra. So abhava means what? Absence of what? Pratyaya and alamba. Both. Pratyaya and alambana. Vritti. The vritti in which neither there is alambana. Rest of the vrittis there is alambana either, or there is pratyaya. In pramana, mind is holding on to something. Viparyaya also, vikalpa also. But in nidra, neither pratyaya nor alambana. Such a state is known as nidra. So sage Patanjali suggests alambana is the best to attain samadhi, and has also given specific alambana as we will progress. From Sutra 1.39, we will start seeing what are the alambanas. What are the instruments on which if a yogi fixes the mind, it leads towards direct samadhi. Yes, question. We have some offline questions. Yes, it is.
When you say when we're asleep, Nidra is also state of sleep. Nidra is also state of sleep. When you remove the Nidra as well.
Yogi removes, yes. Nidra is transferred to Yoga Nidra.
Like
Means
like,
alambana is there. Wonderful question. What is the difference between Nidra and Yoga Nidra?
we are awake.
Alambana is there. In Yoga Nidra, in the restful state, you are having alambana, holding on to meditate.
So is that how we calm down the vritti, or is that how we is that how they are defining the Nidra?
They are defining Nidra as absence of alambana and pratyaya, both. Means the mind is not observing, senses are not active in the present, nor there is future. So it's, you can say, high in tamas, a dull state. And eyes are closed here, means senses are internalized completely.
But the translation, the description here in English says that it's not considered as unconscious.
It's not unconscious. No, therefore you know how you slept.
Right. Which means there is something like a seed which is giving all that information that, oh yeah, I slept.
It's Purush. It's the Chit Shakti, that experience. All impressions are being recorded where we said for Nidra also there is Smriti.
Yeah.
For every, there is impression of every event. And this impression itself is the cause of the next birth. These samskaras, whatever we are doing right now, we may feel that certain activities we do, which are not, which may not have any kind of weightage, nobody will know about them. It's not about anybody else. It's about what kind of impression it is creating on our children. Because in the subsequent actions, we are never freed of that. Then, if the action is not sattvic, if it's tamasic, Nobody may know, but the person who has done anything wrong will always be reminded of that again, again.
This Sutra doesn't explain how to be removed.
Further, sutras, further. So, Nidra, to have an alambana instead of Nidra. What does a yogi do? Has an alambana. Means bees in the present awareness just. That becomes yoga. And what did we see? What is alambana? Support for the mind. Support for removing the other vrittis by focusing on the present. I hope you were able to come closer to your answer.
Yes.
Allow, the knowledge will act by itself. Tomorrow you can again ask.
I need to see.
It will take time, but then it fits it. Like give it some time. Yes, Shri. We have any questions online? Is it very heavy to understand?
Madam, I have a question.
Please, yes.
So, what are the dreams themselves? Like, let's say we sleep and then we see something. Sometimes it's related to future, sometimes like what we believe is future. Sometimes it's something that we remember of the past, but sometimes some dreams are completely psychedelic, like situations that cannot happen, like flying or meeting dead people. Or, you got me, like sometimes it's like a movie. So what do we see, like which part of like is it chitta that is like projecting those dreams, or what are these scenarios that we see? Why we don't sleep blank? Why we have this mechanism of watching something?
So, as we progress in other philosophies from yoga, when we look at Vedanta philosophy, which is the highest Indian philosophy, it says that waking state and dreaming state is no different. And if you recall, I had shared the story of a king who wakes up, who has a bad dream, and he wakes up from this. So, when we study further, we will observe this state of mind, how it transcends, and how waking state and dreaming both are same. But for now, just understand dreaming state is not taken as one of the vrittis. And at the beginning of the class, we discussed. Do you recall? I said waking
Yes,
state and
yes.
dreaming state is not there because dreaming is based on which state? Viparyaya, false knowledge.
Mhm.
So, incomplete knowledge about objects that we have or event which is incomplete results in this state where you yourself are trying to manifest its completion. You have held on to it at the level of thought.
Mhm.
Imagine. So it's not. But dreaming, you're not actively participating in that imagination. What's the difference between imagination? You're aware and you're actively doing it. A dream is not in your control. That's the difference. Therefore, these two states were not included in the vrittis because they are simply advancement of viparyaya. Pramana, waking state is what? Pramana. As long as we are awake, we are constantly taking in knowledge. And dreaming state is based on viparyaya. Apart from knowledge, whatever is there, we discussed at the beginning of this class is viparyaya. So dreams are based on apart from pramana, whatever is. We'll just see how Sage Patanjali is trying to direct us. Yes, yes, Chandra.
Ma'am, I have one maybe very silly question. You said Viparya is imagination in a simple word, right? And you were
Vikalpa is imagination.
oh, Vikalpa,
Viparyaya is wrong knowledge.
wrong knowledge, sorry, false knowledge. Vikalpa is imagination and like manifestation, you say. And these days it's everywhere, like manifesting your future, your life. So how does it work here then? Like, is it good to manifest manifestation, like do you're manifesting your future, your life, or not? Because that also goes into this category in this vritti.
So,
Like,
imagination, which is based on visualization, which you do in meditation. Sometimes you must have encountered there are different strong, powerful visuals during your meditation class, which are created by the mind. Understanding that this created visual is going to direct me towards that action is a manifestation, which is positive. The same without awareness happens in dream because something has been kept in. So when we are manifesting, it's different from vikalpa in the only way is that we are actually thinking, we are propelling ourselves at the level of thought, so that thought becomes a speech and speech becomes action.
okay. Got it.
And we are doing it in complete awareness and spiritual state. When you're otherwise imagining anything, it's not based in a spiritual state of mind. When sattva is highest, and then when you imagine or manifest, there are higher chances that this karma is being created at the level of thought, which means it's planted in the subconscious, this visual. I will explain this again. When you are in the state of sattva, and then when you are manifesting something good spiritually, you are creating a karma at the level of thought. And we see that karma is created at three levels: thought, speech, and action. When it is vikalpa or imagination, it is not in the state of a spiritual state. Means it can be based on other material objects. When you're doing a visual during a yoga nidra, usually the teacher will not ask you to imagine that you're very rich surrounded by luxury. The purpose of yoga nidra is to have a visual of yourself as a yogi. You're sitting in the Himalayas, or you're whatever you have studied, you're trying to add the visual energy. That imagination is any other imagination which is taking towards kama, artha, dharma. All of these are futile, which means they are reborn, they are recurring. Like in mathematics, you have recurring decimals. They're again and again, it's recurring. That problem is not solved. So, what is to be visualized? What is to be imagined? Where is it taking me? This question is important. In Garbha Sanskar also, when we study prenatal yoga, we ask, the mother to manifest, to visualize what kind of child she has. Why? Because from any other thought, which is of fear or worry, at least she has a thought of sattva, of something good. At least it's not a bad thought. At least it's not a thought of fear. So from any unwanted thought, its only purpose is to shift you to a positive, a sattvic, to align it to your spirit. Because mind essentially is made out of sattva.
So, ma'am, visualizing your material thing doesn't
Yes.
have any sattva gun in it, but still people say that yeah, it works and all. So, how?
Manifesting works, that's the power of the mind. So that's why we say what you create is never at the level of action, it's at the level of mind. This creation is based in three: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Sattvic creation is the one which is going to help others. When you create something, I think we have discussed this in the class also at the sattvic level. When there is a sattvic thought or when there is a sattvic manifestation, it sends out a vibration in the society. A person who manifests at the sattvic level ends up doing the biggest things in life, because that thought is not for oneself. So when we see manifestation of wealth or success, all of these are rajasic manifestations.
Hmm.
And people having manifestations about hurting somebody, harming somebody, troubling somebody. All of these are what? Tamasic. They are self-destructive in nature. So Rajesh, manifestation happens. Therefore, Tantra Yoga, entire study of Tantra is based on visualization and manifestation. Entire Tantra, there is a specialized branch to understand the psychic power of manifestation, which is Tantra. But Patanjali makes use of it as what? It says not advisable. Because whatever you will manifest you want as a yogi, the mind has become so pure that you may also meet that. You may also get what you want. But then you will again be invested in utilizing that power or siddhi for others. You will be distracted from your spiritual. So Raj Yoga, which we are studying, Patanjali's yoga, does not talk about this visualization. It simply takes it as one of the vrittis, which also needs to be. But Tantra takes it in a different way. Tantra says that, I can visualize, I can manifest. Then Sage Patanjali says, if you're visualizing, after a point you will not realize whether it's you visualizing or it's really happening. So Sage Patanjali says it's misleading. Therefore, Sage Patanjali puts it in the category of vikalpa, imagination.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. If any other question we take or conclude for today. Bring your palms together at the heart center. We will chant Purnamada together. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently bow your head down. Be grateful for this learning. Be grateful for the progress in sadhana, your spiritual path. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes. Look down first towards the floor. Next down. Namaste. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you,
EJ,
ma'am.
thank you, Ji, joining
Thank
us
you,
for
ma'am.
today. And we hope to see all of you again tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mandeep Ji,
Thank
there is somebody else listening to Yoga Sutras with you.
you.
Yes,
Okay, so-
there is someone else with me.
Good Jiva, fortunate Jiva.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice. Good night. Rest well.
Good
Thank you
night.
so much. We connect again tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do memorize the sutras. Memorize the sutras.
Yes.